We gotta talk about the message that Kyrie Irving sent out over Thanksgiving weekend. We gotta talk about what that means. Not only that, we gotta talk about Game 2, Round 2 between Luka Doncic and LeBron James. That game plus a few other games, but that's the look that we've gotta talk about today. But with that out of the way, pew! What is up, guys? It's me, Zachary. How y'all doing? Hope you're having a fantastic day, no matter what part of the world you might be watching from. You guys coming in already know the drill. Go ahead and destroy, annihilate, decimate that like button, as it does help the channel grow. I greatly appreciate it. But not only that, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications turned on so you don't miss out on more videos like this every Monday through Friday. Speaking of missing out though, you guys want to stop missing out on seeing some of these live games? I mean, you could have seen some great games in person already this season. I know I'm planning to go to a few, and if you are too, then you should check out the sponsor of this video, SeatGeek, aka the best place to get tickets to any live event. Look, it's 2019. If you still don't have SeatGeek, it's about to be 2020 actually. And if you still don't have SeatGeek, you're slacking. You're slacking big time, Chief. And you need to fix that. Get views from the seats before you buy them, and not only that, get an additional $20 off when you use the promo code SDC at checkout. I'll have the links so you can download the app down in the description box below. Now though, let's just get into the video. Let's go. So by now you've all heard the story, the newest story regarding Kyrie Irving. The newest, oh my God, he's at it again with this incoherent nonsense story regarding Kyrie Irving. As over the long Thanksgiving weekend, after Kyrie Irving had his name booed at a game in which he wasn't even at attendance, talking about the Nets take on the Celtics in what would have been Kyrie's first time playing back in Boston after leaving for Brooklyn over this summer. So he was booed in that game, even though he wasn't there. And afterwards, he decided to take to his Instagram account to release this message. Now, warning, this is a lengthy message. The editor and me will put a timestamp in for anyone who has already heard it. It happens all the time, and tonight just shows how sports and entertainment will always be ignorant and obtrusive. It's one big show that means very, very little in the real world that most people live in, because there are actually things that matter going on, like figuring out a life that means more to you than a ball going into a hoop, or learning how to grow up in being in a fishbowl of a society based on your popularity level as a person, or even dealing with becoming the leader of your family after someone's passing and not knowing how to deal with life after it happens. But the game of sports entertainment matters more than someone's mental health and well-being, right? Or the real life things that happen to people every day, but they still have to perform for the NBA and its fans, right? It's all about doing it for the fans and the organization that love you so much. Think again. It's a game and it's promoted as a fandom experience for ticket buyers and the viewers at home, while defacing who people truly are as people, then spat out all over these media networks as valuable food for thought, while they actually believe that their opinions hold weight to real cultural leaders that speak and act for change. One big gimmick with some smoke and mirrors. I'll always be the one that takes a stand and speaks on the truth every time though. A purposeful and spiritually led life will always be bigger and more meaningful than any sports arena or any entertainment space. This game isn't meant to be controlled and shown as drama. It's meant to show the love. Love for the art is the only thing that keeps the purest people in this giant sports entertainment circus. Don't fall for the game that's played in front of you as entertainment. It'll never be as serious as dealing with life. Congratulations to Kyrie Irving for posting the longest worded Instagram story of all time. Congratulations. I didn't think you could fit that many characters into an Instagram story. Like I said though, after Kyrie Irving said this, we all know the response that he got. Of course, Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith took the first take to give their thoughts on what Kyrie Irving said, with Max Kellerman said it wasn't a good look for Kyrie Irving and pretty much said that what Kyrie Irving was saying was pretty incoherent. And then Stephen A. Smith agreed with what Max Kellerman said, but also said that maybe if Kyrie Irving would actually be playing right now, that this wouldn't have been that big of a deal and that he'd have the support of the fans, which is a lie, which is a freaking lie. I don't care if Kyrie Irving was playing, how well Kyrie Irving was playing. The narrative around this story would still be Kyrie Irving's crazy, because that's a narrative around Kyrie Irving in the NBA world, is that he's the crazy one, the odd child, the goofball, the guy who thinks that the earth is flat. And that's not going to change, because that's who the media has portrayed Kyrie Irving as. But that's what Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman had to say about the situation. Now, here's what I think. Here's what I got out of Kyrie Irving's message after reading it time and time again, and after studying. I want to say this. For the 3 years that I've been covering the NBA full time, for 3 years that I've been following these players and listening to what they're saying, Kyrie Irving is one of the players that I make an effort to try and find out and figure out everything that this dude is saying, because what he's saying is so different from anyone else in the NBA. A lot of guys will feed you PR crap that they say just to be liked, to have a good public image and things that their agent or that people want them to say. That's what a lot of players and just people in the league and life in general will tell you. Well, Kyrie Irving isn't one of those people, because he's not afraid to say what's really on his mind, what he really feels. And this post is just yet another example of that. And that's something that I've always respected of Kyrie Irving, his willingness to be different, his being unafraid to be different and be who he is. So I respect Kyrie Irving wholeheartedly on that front, and being someone who's followed what Kyrie Irving has been saying over the years, this makes sense. I mean, think about this. Last year, Kyrie Irving said that he wasn't in the best place. Mentally, internally, he wasn't himself in the best place. It had nothing to do with basketball. It had nothing to do with the Boston Celtics. It had to do with the passing of his grandfather. And in this post, once again, he referenced how he's struggling with becoming the man of his family after the passing of his grandfather. He's dealing with that stuff plus a lot of other stuff. Kyrie Irving has been in a depression, a funk for the past year. Now, he said that he's in a better place now this season with the Brooklyn Nets. He said that he's in a better place, but I will put $0 and 0 cents on the fact that Kyrie Irving is all the way back from the dark place that he was last year. The man is still going through things. You want to know how I know he's still going through things? Because I'm going through things and you're going through things. That's just how it is. That's just me being as real with you guys as I possibly can. And he's going through these things all while being poked with a stick about this little situation. It might not be as big to us as it is to Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie Irving is the actual one who has to be Kyrie Irving and live with it. We might not be thinking about all the things that get said about Kyrie Irving all day, all night, all the tweets that are being sent to him, everything that's going Kyrie Irving's way, all the negativity that's going Kyrie Irving's way. We might not be thinking about that or feeling it all the time, because we're not Kyrie Irving. We're going through our own things and he's going through his own things. Only difference is he has a lot more hate and negativity coming his way, and eventually it leads to these eruptions or things like this where he feels prompted or forced to respond in this way. It's like poking a sleeping bear with a stick. You poke it enough times, eventually it's gonna wake up. That's my take on Kyrie Irving, though. Like I said, the other thing that we gotta talk about today is round 2 between Luka Doncic and LeBron James. We're gonna get to that, but first we do have to get to a few other games that went down last night. The first one being the Los Angeles Clippers scoring 150 points for the second time this season. Now, I would be a lot more impressed if it didn't happen against the Washington Wizards, who it seems like teams drop 150 at least on them on a regular basis. Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George combined for 110 points. The Toronto Raptors were embarrassing the Utah Jazz at halftime. I mean, the score was 77-37, up by 40. And the Jazz, they were only playing it for pride at that point because the game was over. Pascal Siakam, 35 points, and Fred VanVleet, 21 points and 11 assists, averaging 19 and 7.5 assists on the year. Look, this guy is only 25 years old. I get that there's not that much hype around him because he was undrafted and stuff, but he's an up-and-coming point guard in the NBA. 130 to 110. The final score. The Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets got tangled up in a good game last night, but it was the Miami Heat who were able to prevail. Of course, for the Brooklyn Nets, still no Kyrie Irving as he missed his 9th straight game. 109 to 106 the final score. The Heat scored the game's final 10 points. The Detroit Pistons pummel the San Antonio Spurs. Worst loss of the night, 132 to 98 the final score. San Antonio, I think it's time to panic. Christian Wood, 28 points and 10 rebounds on the game. The Boston Celtics able to beat the New York Knicks despite Marcus Smart having to leave this game early with an abdomen injury. Brown and Tatum both stepping up for the Celtics as they often do when their teammates go down. 30 points for Tatum and 28 for Brown. No John Morant for the Grizzlies as he is week to week with back spasms. Hope he's well soon, but the Grizzlies are still able to shock the Minnesota Timberwolves. 115 to 107 the final score. The OKC Thunder once again able to beat the New Orleans Pelicans. Yo, the OKC Thunder are 8-11 on the year. A lot better than I think people were thinking they'd be to start the season, but then again, you look at it and 3 of those wins are against these Pelicans. Chris Paul, though, taking over in the final 4 minutes of the 4th quarter. And lastly for the segment, I officially feel god-awful for Warriors fans. Like, no one deserves this. This is just an awful year. 32 points for Evan Fournier as the Warriors once again lose, this time to the Orlando Magic. This is, I don't know how many videos I've had to make so far this season just talking about Luka Doncic. I mean, the kid is unbelievable. We get it, Luka. We get it. He did it again. Okay, so the Dallas Mavericks were taking on the Los Angeles Lakers yesterday. In the first half, it was a great game. Heavily contested, back and forth, right? Except here's the thing. Luka Doncic in that first half, he wasn't really able to do anything. The Los Angeles Lakers had him on clamp in the first half. Still a good game, though. And I was impressed that the Dallas Mavericks were able to keep it close at that point because, once again, they're doing this without Luka Doncic. So you have other guys stepping up, even though LeBron and AD are playing well. So I'm like, you know what? I'm still feeling Dallas. They just need Luka Doncic to get going in the second half. And Luka Doncic during halftime was like, you know what? My team's in this game. I haven't even got going. If I get going, maybe we can just blow this thing open. And that's exactly what happened. In the third quarter, Luka Doncic got going, scored 16 points, and blew the game wide open. And the Dallas Mavericks end up snapping the Los Angeles Lakers 10-game winning streak, 114 to 100 the final score. The game felt a lot further than that. Didn't feel that close in the second half, though. It didn't feel just like the Lakers were going to lose by 14 points. And Doncic in this game, once again, flirting with a 30-point triple-double, 27 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds, doing most of his damage in that third quarter. As I was watching this game, though, and I already know all the hoopla and stuff, I could just sit here and praise Luka Doncic for days and do all that stuff, but as I was watching this game, I was reminded of something that I had just recently read in Derrick Rose's book, I'll Show You. It's autobiography that released, I don't remember how long ago it released, but I just finished reading it, and I was reminded of something that he said in this game. I never done this before, but I want to share with you guys what he said because it pertains directly to what Luka Doncic is doing and going through right now. Here's what he said. Nothing against Karl Anthony Towns. He is cool and he's good, but you get these kids and you spoil them before they achieve something. Get their first contracts at $190 million. Come on. Now you got a situation where a young player can voice his opinion to fire a coach or get anybody on that staff fired if he doesn't like what's going on. That's a lot of power. What, 21, 22 years old? No guidance, but money and power. In the scope of the Dallas Mavericks, besides of course Mark Cuban, the owner, there's no one that's as untouchable as Luka Doncic. And I'm not just talking about players on the roster. When I say that, I mean, if you go down anyone in the entire organization besides Mark Cuban, there's no one that they would not get rid of before they got rid of Luka Doncic, and that includes head coach Rick Carlisle, who has served them faithfully for years, who was the coach that led Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks to that championship over the Miami Heat back in 2011. Mark Cuban would get rid of Rick Carlisle before he would get rid of Luka Doncic, because Mark Cuban is a businessman, and the Dallas Mavericks are an organization looking to make business moves, make money. And here's the thing, while Rick Carlisle has been a great coach for the Dallas Mavericks for all these years, who has done great things for the Dallas Mavericks, who's going to bring in the most money? Luka Doncic or Rick Carlisle? It's going to be Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, that's the answer. And so that's why the Dallas Mavericks will get rid of him first, regardless of how long Rick Carlisle has been there. And that's not to say that Rick Carlisle is going anywhere. This was just an example to paint a picture, because Rick Carlisle is probably one of the most untouchable people in the Dallas Mavericks. And it's crazy to say that once again, because this is just Luka Doncic's second year. He hasn't even played 2 full years for the Mavericks first, and he's already the second most important person in the organization behind Mark Cuban. And he's not the only player. Of course, Derrick Rose mentioned Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns does have the keys for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but not only him, you look at the Phoenix Suns, and Devin Booker has had the keys since 2017. When Booker was 2021, the Suns made an announcement. It was in the press, it was in the news, that they were going to allow Devin Booker to play a role in the team's decisions moving forward. He was going to be basically part of their front management. They're going to go through him, make sure everything's fine, because why? The last thing the owner wants is to lose Devin Booker. Do you know what would happen if the Phoenix Suns were to lose Devin Booker? Do you know the backlash that the owner and the organization that face, the money that they will lose? And that's why they have to make these decisions, because the players, especially these young guys 25 and under that are coming into the league on their first contracts, proving themselves in year 2 to year 3 to be these up and coming players, teams are going to bend over backwards for them, because how hard is it to get your hand on a guy like this, especially these smaller market teams like the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves in Karl-Anthony Towns' case, or the Milwaukee Bucks in Giannis's case. I mean, they're all doing this now. Why? Because they want these guys to say they don't want them to leave. And really, if you think about it, this was a whole movement started by LeBron James. Of course, we all know that his decision to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers played an influential part in, allowing star players to really move wherever they want after they serve out their contract, and not to feel obliged to stay with one team their entire career. But what I mean, and when this was started by LeBron James, was the fact that he was really one of the first players who came into the league and was immediately gifted control of an organization. Day 2, after he played his first game with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they dropped off the keys in his front mailbox. The keys to the organization were in his mailbox. Why? Because this is the Cleveland Cavaliers. This team hasn't sniffed greatness. They hadn't sniffed greatness till before LeBron James. And now they get this guy, this homegrown guy from Akron. They're like, of course, we'll let you do whatever you want. Any roster moves we can make, we'll let you know. You want a different coach? We got you. We'll do anything and everything in our power to make sure that we give you everything that you want in an attempt to win a championship. Of course, it wasn't enough because they didn't have the assets, so LeBron wound up leaving anyway. But because of that, and because of all the players who are willing to request a trade out of a situation they don't like, now teams are kind of forced to bend over backwards for these young players to make sure that everything's going on fine and dandy. Because even if you look at Kobe Bryant, he didn't have it like that until he proved himself for the Los Angeles Lakers. Kobe Bryant didn't get that treatment until after he won those championships with Shaq, because before that, the Lakers had contemplated trading Kobe Bryant a few times. But now these young players who really, like Derrick Rose said, technically haven't accomplished anything besides maybe make an all-star team, are getting handed the keys to these organizations. Like, they haven't even won MVP. They haven't brought you a champion. They haven't even brought you to the playoffs yet in Devin Booker's case. And you're like, you know what? You're in control. So Derrick Rose doesn't like that, but now it's time for you guys to let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about young players being handed this much power and this much money too so early on in their careers? Let me know the answers down in the comment section below. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs as always, but as always, once again, until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team STC, and I'm out of here. Peace.